to Albany in your conference opener. Just talk about what you liked about the way your team performed.
Yeah, just happy with the resolve and the mental toughness. The last few weeks battled and losing games in the way that we did in the manner that it happened in the fourth quarter. I was happy that they were able to prepare, at a championship level this week in practice. And yeah, we played clean on all three phases. Offensively, it was great to start, get more efficient on the ground game. We need to continue to be more explosive there, but I think, we held on to it. A lot of 4, 5, 6 yard runs. I think the first two touchdown drives combined were 15, 16 minutes and held on to it for, 21 of the 30 minutes in the first half. So that was good to have some continuity there. I think we were better situationally, 50% on third down and finished with touchdowns in the red zone, which was great. Defensively, I thought it was a relentless effort. They ran to the football, great pursuit angles. Thought we tackled extremely well. Made some plays on special teams, and we didn't punt that often, but when we did, I thought Matt Godbeck did a really good job flipping the field, pinning them a couple times. So I just thought each phase played well off one another, and I was happy we were able to get it done.
You touched on it, but you guys took the opening kickoff and held the ball almost 8 minutes, go 75 yards, and cashed it in with a touchdown. How much of a statement does that make when you're able to start a game that way?
No, it's great for us, and we got to continue to find creative ways to be more explosive on offense. And I think those plays will come, but right now we're working to control the clock, limit as many defensive snaps as that we can have, and to do that, you got to be great on third down, and we weren't the last few weeks. I thought it was much better on Saturday. And, some of that was good play design, but, a lot of it was Matt Vezza doing a really good job with his legs. I think he had two or three scrambles where it was really good coverage by Albany, and he found a way to get the first down and move the stick. So that's certainly got to be something that we got to continue to highlight, his ability to improvise.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. 19 to 24 in the game, but watch him, and like you said, he made some big throws rolling out of the pocket. You've played the position and were outstanding at it. He almost seems more comfortable when he's on the move. Do you kind of see that?
I think he is. I think it's some of the times we got to stay in there, and it was pretty good protection. And he needs to trust the pocket and step up into it, and deliver under duress. But you don't want to take that playmaking ability away from him, and I think that's what makes him unique, and ultimately why he got the nod this year to be our starter. So that was a great game by him, just getting the ball out of his hands, getting through progression. Albany threw a lot of different defensive looks at us, and I thought he was poised and had true command of the offense, and continues to get better week by week.
Question for you from Roger. Go ahead, Roger.
Morning, guys.
Come on.
Rick, on the explosive plays, do you have a number that you'd like to have per game? Do you guys set like a goal in that regard, or you just need to be better in that area?
Yeah, I would like to have 5+ X plays as we call them, 20-yard passes and 15-yard or more runs. So yeah, five or greater would be a good number for us.
Okay, thanks.
Before I get switch to the defense, I want to mention Ryan Black. Only one catch in the game, but his first career catch it goes for a touchdown. How nice was that for you to be able to see?
Really happy for him. He's been preparing, extremely well. I had mentioned on some of these calls before just kind of what he was last year to us on scout team, and he gave our starting defense some fit. So no surprise to anybody in the organization that he's out here making plays on game day. And yeah, you could tell what he means to the locker room and what type of teammate he is by the reaction when he got to the sideline. And I think his teammates were more excited than he was. So just really proud of him. And we're going to need him to continue to develop if we want to be successful going forward.
And then you touched on the running game. Miles of 77 yards. I think that maybe is his best game of the season for you. What have you seen from the running game? And you touched on needing it to get a little bit better, but did you think you're making strides in the right direction with him?
I think we are. I thought that was probably the most complete game our offensive line played, and we were one tackle away from a couple really big ones there. And I think he's running hard, getting back comfortable. He's got really good vision and he's elusive. So just continuing to trust the reads and hit it. And, I think we're close to breaking through.
Let's switch to the other side of the ball. You held Albany off the scoreboard until the final 4 minutes of the game. Really dominant effort, as I said, in the open. What did you do so well on that side of the ball?
I think first and foremost, they did a really good job stopping the run. We tackled so much better. I thought how they prepared all week and took to the coaching. Relentless effort, tackled extremely well. I thought, and then when we got them in obvious passing situations, I thought they did a really good job keeping a net on things. They took a numerous amount of shots downfield, that I felt like we were on top of it. We had really good eye discipline at the third level. So just a really complete overall performance. I thought the defensive line, we had a couple sacks, probably three or four more that we were close to getting there. So I thought they did a really good job, being relentless, great first step in their pursuit angles and what they did living in the backfield all day. So, proud of them. And, our second level guys, probably the most inexperienced group that we have on the team right now, and I thought that was their best game that they played. Just getting more comfortable, getting the guys lined up, trusting the calls, playing sideline to sideline. They tackled better in particular, and I thought that group took a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah, one of those guys, freshman Kelly Hampton, with his an interception in that game. As you said, you got a lot of new faces back there. What is how difficult in the course of the fire is it for those guys to get experience against some of the quarterbacks that you face?
Yeah, I was proud with Kelby. Sean Webb went out with a hand injury. Kelby had to play 60 snaps, I believe it was, and as a true freshman, by far the most workload that he's had, so far in the early part of the season. So minus like two plays being situationally aware where maybe had too much depth in his coverage. I thought he did an outstanding job. Obviously got the interception. We've seen that in practice. He's got a knack for being around the football. I think he led our team in interceptions during fall camp. So just great young man, prepares the right way, and he's taking advantage of the opportunity that he has right now.
Look ahead to Saturday, another big one in Durham as Villanova comes to town. Always a great battle between the two of you. As you look at this year's Villanova team, what are some of the challenges they present?
Yeah, just extremely well coached like they always are with Coach Ferrante. You look at it from a defense perspective, it's always tough with that 3-3 stack. And I think based on their personnel, they can make it look like a four down front and present as a three down front. And very stout up front. That's one thing you always know about them. Their defensive line, physically imposing, long body guys, do a great job against the run. Shane Hartzell, their All-American linebacker at the second level, run sideline to sideline. He's their juice guy. He's physical. You would have said you looked at some of the guys on the back end, they're a little bit younger and they graduated a lot from last year. You don't notice the difference between some of the guys that they've rolled out there. I think they've done a phenomenal job in recruiting, and they're a complete defense for sure. And they make you earn everything. They don't beat themselves. On the other side of the ball, offensively, extremely creative. They're going to get you into unbalanced formation to the boundary, empty formations. QB's playing at a high level right now. He adds a little bit with his legs as well. So that QB design run, the +1 run game, I think is really good for them. Jake Picard, their center, does a really good job getting them going. They've always had great offensive line play, and they're extremely well coached right there. So it's a very good football team. No surprise why, year in and year out, they're representing the CAA in the postseason. It's a team that has a chance to win a championship every single year, and we have to play our best game.
New quarterback for them this year, the transfer, and Pat McQuaid, as you said, brings a lot of experience to the position. What have you seen from him and in the film that you watched that they seem to have not really skipped a beat there?
Yeah, no, I think they always do a really good job of getting in heaviest obvious run situations because they can pound the ball and run it so well. But then they get you one-on-one with the guys on the perimeter. He throws such a nice deep ball. He's accurate when they ask him to do those things. And yeah, he can run. They can design stuff for him. He can also, those unscripted plays as well, beat you with his legs. So, we have to keep a net around him. We have to tackle extremely well this week. We got to make sure that we're really disciplined with our eyes, at the second and third level. And he's a really good player.
And then just the running game is always a factor. It's been there since Coach Ferrante's been there, and they just seem to cycle through backs and have another really good one in David Abbott. What makes him so difficult to deal with?
Oh, they got a stable of running backs. They have three guys, I think, that are good enough to start at any program in this conference right now. I mean, he's elusive. He can run, great first step. You can tell he really is in tune with what they're doing in terms of an offensive line standpoint. He trusts his blocks. He's really patient, and then he can explode through the hole. He can run through you at the point of contact as well. So I think he's a complete back. Yeah, and I just think we gotta be ready and match their physicality this week. That's going to be a huge component to the win.
All right, Rick. Thanks as always for the time today, and look forward to talking again next month.